What's up with the YouTube? It's your boy iamonio, man. I'm back with another video. Hey man, man, I need y'all to go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Hey, hit the subscribe button, man. Make sure y'all leave a like, comment. Let's get into this video, man. I need y'all to listen up for real though. Listen to this. I appreciate Christina Randall for explaining this story, but y'all must listen to this story, man. At the end, watch it all the way through. Let the ads play. And at the end, drop your comment, man. Let me know how y'all feel about this story. Let's go and get into it.
How was this woman literally on probation for 5 years? She's living with the victim. Nobody's checking on the victim. We're going to talk about that today. Imani Moss was born in April of 2003. Imani ended up living with her father full time. And so eventually when he got full custody of her, the mother went off, allegedly disappeared, and was never in her life again. In 2007, Iman met a woman named Tiffany at his church. Iman and Tiffany started getting serious pretty quickly. He was a single dad with just him and his daughter. He meets this woman.
Hey man, do y'all see this hair? Let me know. Let me know if it's a wig, extension, or did she grow like that for real? I want to know.
That has no kids, never been married. They get along great. His daughter gets along great with her. So he thought that it was perfect. By the beginning of 2009, they were already engaged. And by July of 2009, they got married. And then in 2010, Tiffany finds out she is pregnant with a little boy whom they end up naming Tristan. Everything was going good until Iman got a call from a police department one day while he was at work. Now, when he gets to the police department, he finds out that Imani, his daughter's school, they had called the police department because Imani had shown signs of being abused. A full investigation was started and they actually arrested Tiffany. Tiffany was the one that had beat her for not doing her homework, according to Imani. Well, when they went into investigation and they dug deep into it, the courts were not happy. They did end up giving Tiffany a plea deal though for 5 years probation. And according to Iman, things got really tense. Things got really tense around the house. So then what happened was the courts came and they removed Imani out of the home and they put her in the home with her grandmother, which was Iman's mother. Now, while Imani was living with her grandmother, according to her grandmother, she thrived. She was doing so good in school. She had lots of friends. She was running around playing. She was eating good. She was alive and happy. Imani's grandmother begged her father to just let Imani live here. Just come and let her live here. She doesn't want to go back home. And Imani's dad said no. When they finished up all of their stuff 6 months later, they took Imani and they brought her back home. Right around the time that Imani was able to move back in with her father and her stepmother and her little brother, Tiffany became pregnant again with a little girl named Emma. So things started getting really tight and tense here. Now Tiffany cannot work, okay? The only person that's working is the father. He's working 2 jobs. Well, because they were so tight on money, at this time they end up moving back in with her mother. So his mother-in-law at this point. So now they're all living in this home. They live here for a while. It's super crowded. Again, it's tense. And so they were able to save up enough money to get an apartment in an apartment complex, and they all move out and move into this apartment. Now, when they move into this apartment in 2012, the apartment complex worker called the cops because they said that Imani was saying that she did not want to go home. I guess she had gotten off the school bus or whatever, and she was in the office and she was saying she was scared to go home. So they called the cops to come in and talk to her and check on her. When the cops came, Imani said that for punishment, that her stepmother, Tiffany, would tie her to a chair and put her in the shower, a freezing cold shower. They could not find any physical bruises or whelps or anything.
So what you telling me is you're not gonna believe your child? You're not gonna believe your child, really? So that's what y'all doing out there? Not believing what y'all kids say? Come on, man.
On her, so they had to just chuck it up as maybe it didn't happen. They just didn't have enough evidence to do anything. There were different times that the cops were called and it was said that Imani had run away or that she, didn't come home. She didn't want to come home. Tiffany always tried to make it seem like she was just a rebellious little girl, and Amon was struggling with this, and he has really no choice at this point other than to take his wife's word for everything. Right around this time, it was said that Imani was going through a major growth spurt. Her father, Amon, testified in court that when he would be home on the weekend, she would eat constantly. She would just gobble up everything, eat. But she was so thin, and he felt like every time he saw her, she was losing more and more weight. So he just figured, man, her metabolism's hitting. She's going through this growth spurt where she's eating a lot, and her metabolism is just on fire. As time was going on, Amon, the father, said that he noticed that she was losing energy. She just was not herself. She was not lively anymore. They were not taking her around the rest of the family anymore, so nobody else really kind of saw what was going on. They knew that something was up. The neighbors even testified in court that they saw the other two little kids outside all the time and playing and stuff, but they only saw Imani one time. When Amon would be...
So while this man is at work, she letting they kids play outside, but because it's his daughter and she the stepmom, she torturing this baby, making this baby stay in the house while everybody having fun. What? Man, I'm not getting it. Some sick people out here in the world, man.
Work, and obviously he trusted his wife to take care of his daughter. He said that he had no reason not to trust his wife to take care of all of their kids. They had two kids together, and then they had Imani, who was obviously Amon's daughter from that previous relationship, which was Tiffany's stepdaughter. He said that Tiffany would text him all the time when he was at work, and almost every single time that she texted him, it always had to do with Imani.
Would it be fair to say that a lot of the texts that you got had to do with Tiffany claiming that Imani was misbehaving?
Yes.
So you're her father. What did you do about that?
I didn't do absolutely nothing.
Did you believe your wife when she told you that?
I did.
Why?
I don't know, I had questions, but I did.
On October 29th of 2013, things took a turn for the worst, and they would never turn back for the good ever again. While Amon was at work, he gets a text message from Tiffany who says that there's something wrong with Imani. There's something wrong with her. She's not doing too good. He gets home from work. He finishes off his shift, which... let's keep going here. He finishes off his shift at work. When he gets home, he finds his daughter in the bathtub and she's having seizures.
So, you get a phone call at work. Your daughter's sick. She ain't doing good. And you don't leave work. And you don't leave work. And you don't leave work. We gotta do better, y'all. But they slave us to the point where we gotta work like we work to make money, though.
And he said at this point, in his own words, she was beyond repair at this point. Amon testified that he wanted to call 911. He told his wife, we've got to call 911. And she said, no, you cannot call 911. I'm on probation. Are you kidding me? Like, she is, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna go to prison here. They're gonna obviously blame me and say I did something to her. Like, we cannot call 911. He thought about it and he thought, man, I just can't lose my wife too. Like, what am I gonna do? So he just left for his second shift and left her laying there in the bed and went to work to his second job. Imani laid there in that bed, not doing good. And 6 days later, when Amon was at work, he got a text from Tiffany and said, Imani is dead. She's gone. He again finishes out his day at work, and then he comes home.
So again, somebody call you and tell you your child dead. And you just gonna stay at work? Was he even at work? Don't nobody know.
He again told him, do not call the cops. We're just gonna have to figure this out together, and we'll just say she ran away. I mean, she's ran away so many other times, the cops will believe it. Like, we've got to do it this way. And Amon, not knowing what to do at that point, obviously not having any common sense, agreed with coming up with a different plan. So what does he do? He leaves and he goes to work to his next job. He just goes to work. So her little precious body, this is infuriating, is become stiff at this point. And they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. They've got to hide the body. They've got to do something here. And so he decides that he's going to cremate her. So he goes to Walmart, and he is seen on camera at Walmart, and he gets trash bags, black trash bags, lighter fluid, charcoal, and a big metal, one of those big metal trash cans, you know. They load their 2 kids up in there too. So it's Tiffany, Amon, the 2 kids in the back seat, and now precious little baby Amani in this trash can in the back of their truck. And they're driving around looking for a good place to burn it. He realized it wasn't doing anything, so they put the fire out, and they had to sit there for an hour and a half and wait for the can to cool enough so he could put it back in the back of his truck so they could figure something else out. And by this time, it's like Sunday. He's got to go to work the next day. And so he has this can in the back of his truck, you guys, and Tiffany is at home with the 2 kids, you know, just going on, I guess, making macaroni and cheese and waffles for breakfast like nothing has ever happened. And he is going to work with this trash can in the back of his truck. A few days went by, and he just could not take it anymore. One of his really good friends that he had since he was like 10 years old was talking to him after work, and he told him, he told him the story, and he said, what do you think I should do? And his friend said, call 911. Call the police. And he decided, oh my gosh, you're right, like I've got to. Like, he had this guilt, obviously, but he was listening to his wife, Tiffany, and that is no excuse on his part. Nevertheless, he ends up driving back home after he finishes out his shift at work. Oh man, he's obviously a star employee at his job at this point. He drives home and he tells Tiffany, I'm about to call 911. I've got to call them. I've got to report this. And she flips out on him. She's like, you cannot report this, whatever. He's like, I'm going to do it. She loads up her 2 kids in the car. She goes to her mom's house. Her mom reported that when she got there, she took the kids. She's like, you got to take the kids, or they're coming for me. They're coming for me. She changed clothes and she left her kids there with her mom. Amon called 911. 911 dispatcher said that when he called, they were not sure if this was a homicide or a suicide. They were very, very confused. So of course they send dispatchers out there. They send the cops out to the house, and he finally tells them that his daughter's body is in the trash can over there. And while he's talking to one of the cops, another cop goes over to the trash can. He walks over there and he looks in the trash can, and he said that when he lifted that lid off of that trash can, he was stunned. He immediately hit his thing and said, put him in custody, take him in custody, take him in custody. So they immediately handcuffed him, obviously, and they took him down to the station, and he was under arrest. When Amon got down to the police station, he did not hold back. He told it all. He was just so relieved, even though he knew he was in jail and he was not going to get out anytime soon. At this point, they're looking for Tiffany, and later, I think it was like the next weekend or a few days or something like that, Tiffany came down and turned herself in. What happened was Amon ended up testifying against his wife to spare himself of the death penalty, and he did, and he told it all. But his wife, Tiffany, she took it to trial, and she chose to represent herself. But when she represented herself, she did not do anything. And they would say, do you want to cross-examine this witness? Do you have any questions? She would say, no, thank you. But she didn't do anything to defend herself. Now, she was found guilty, obviously. And when they were taking the trash can example around, or they were talking about different things, and especially during the closing arguments of the prosecution, a lot of the jury was crying. Like, it was so hard to hear, and you're looking at these beautiful pictures of this beautiful, bright little baby girl that had her whole entire life ahead of her. However, they are trying to get an appeal now and say that she was not competent to, one, stand trial. She was not mentally competent to stand trial. And she was also not, because of the way she was responding and not, defending herself, that's not something somebody with a sound mind would do. The father, Amon, got life in prison without the possibility of parole, so he will be in prison for the rest of his life. No possibility of parole, but he did get spared the death penalty. How is this woman literally on probation for 5 years? She's living with the victim.
So you get him life and her 5 years. Really, y'all? Really? When he did nothing. I understand that, but I mean, 5-year probation. He get a life sentence. She killed the baby. He helped burn the baby. I mean, I think they should get the same amount of time. Me personally. But since she played crazy, she get 5-year probation. It seemed like he didn't have to play crazy, and he get a life sentence. The man is crazy. He did nothing for his child. Nothing. And you telling me that ain't crazy? That ain't crazy. Come on now. Y'all drop down in the comment section, man. Let me know what y'all think about this story right here. I just couldn't see it. It's crazy. It's some crazy people out here, man. But anyway, it's your boy on y'all, man. And I'm signing now. No, I ain't signing now. I got 36 seconds. Y'all thought I was going.
Nobody's checking on the victim. Nobody's coming up in that house and asking that baby girl. Nobody's looking at her. That makes absolutely no sense to me. They're trying to say that Tiffany Moss had a brain injury when she was a kid, and that's what their new defense is going to be when they try to take this back to trial. So you can't tell me that she was so out of her mind that she did not realize what she was doing. The other 2 kids were healthy and happy and well loved. It was only her stepdaughter, the Cinderella effect, or the Cinderella story.
That's crazy. Hey, but anyway, man, it's your boy on y'all, man. I'm officially out. Booyah!